Hey guys, welcome back. I was planning on doing another live astrology reading this past Sunday, but it had been a few days since I had did energy updates. I went ahead and got those done, and then after that, I just figured, I'll just wait. But at this particular point, my goal is to try to do some sort of a astrology live on the weekend, some at some point during the weekend when I have some downtime. I have some downtime during the week in the mornings, but the weekend is just better because then I pretty much get to reset, et cetera, et cetera. But on my morning run, I was thinking like, oh my God, I don't think I've did Diddy yet in terms of looking at his astrology chart. Now, I did take a little bit of a look at it whenever I did the composite reading between he and Young Miami, and that was probably one of the first astrology readings that I did on my channel where I knew a bit, but I didn't know as much as I do now. But I still feel that that video was helpful in a way. So you might have, it was, I think I did a live. I can't remember in what way I did, but you guys may have to scroll back through, or whenever this video posts to my YouTube channel, I may just go ahead and drop the link for that previous video in the comments so that you guys can just one click and go and look at it. Hey Yolanda, what the heck are you doing up? Aren't you supposed to be working? Aren't all you guys supposed to be working? I'm working, but aren't all you guys supposed to be working? But anyway, so like I said, this is the goal, to try to do astrology or at least our mythology stories on a weekend and save like the weekday for tarot energy updates or anything like that. So we're going to be taking a look at P. Diddy's chart. Now, this is not going to have to, this does not have anything to do with anybody else. I know he has been in a bunch of different circles. I know he has had a bunch of different relationships with multiple different people when it comes to his label or just business or anything like that. We know that because he does own a label, but I'm just talking about Diddy as the person. So I just want to take a look and see kind of like what we're looking at there. And on this particular live, I will be doing something a little bit different. It's not super different, but I was just curious to see what transits Diddy is going through in terms of, you know, the planets are in certain signs right now. So I kind of like wanted to see where the planets are right now. How does that measure up to his natal birth chart? Like what's with the sudden changes? So I'm going to actually show you guys the research that I found on that when it comes to his transits. And actually, we may go ahead and do that first, and then we'll roll back around and look at his natal chart. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you guys can see what I am referring to. I think this is it. Yes. Okay, so here is the natal chart I had to create because no one nowhere has Diddy's birth time. Okay, so sometimes that happens where we just don't have any data, so I just have to just pull, just so I can make the chart. I just have to put a generic birth time, and normally it's 12:30 if you don't know. The only thing, of course, like I said before, when it comes to using like 12 p.m. or using 12:30, is the housing system is going to be off. Sometimes it may not be if they are pretty close to the birth time that I put in there. But oftentimes just the housing systems in terms of the degrees or, ascendant, midhaven, descendant, I see those degrees or placements could be off. So in this chart, he has Aquarius ascendant. However, if we had the right birth time, you never know. He may be a Sagittarius ascendant, or he may even be a Taurus ascendant, maybe, if we kind of think about it, when we look at maybe the way that he has aged, or if we look at, even if you go back to whenever Diddy had his like show when it came to making the band, he seems to be someone who's very keen when it comes to, of course, everybody should be keen on hygiene, but he seems a little bit like, maybe a little bit of a neat freak or something like that. I'm not saying Tauruses are neat freaks, okay? I don't, maybe not, but either way, who knows? Maybe he could be a Taurus rising, okay? Or Who knows? He may be a Libra rising. It may not necessarily be so far-fetched, but considering the fact that he is a wanderer, my thought is possibly going that he may be an Aries rising or a Taurus rising. Wandering meaning that, he's going through these relationships, especially when it pertains to love or women, and he has really no intent of marrying them. So he may have Saturn in the first house, because I kind of see that a little bit of a wanderer energy, even though, well, yeah, I could possibly see that being maybe a thing, him having Saturn in the first house. But again, I don't have his birth time, so it's just a guess. Okay. But anyway, so this is his birth chart. As you can see, he has Mars in Capricorn, which I think Mars is actually exalted in Capricorn. I'm going to have to get my notes in a second. We know that he's a Scorpio sun. He was born on the 4th of November. So already off of the bat, if we go based off of what I always do when it comes to numerology, I like to look at the day that they were born. Yes, sun sign or zodiac sign. Okay, yeah, that is important. But the sun sign to me today is not as super as important as it was maybe whenever I first started, because I've learned more, and it plays a part. However, there's so many things to a natal chart. So the sun sign has kind of moved down on the totem pole a little bit. Still important though. In his case, we do need to look at the sun though, because since he is born on the 4th day, the number 1 and the number 4 is tied to the energy of the sun. The sun exalts in Aries. The sun is at home in Leo. And the number 4 in numerology actually is tied to the energy of Aries. Okay, so we need to look at his sun. Now we know he has sun in Scorpio. We're just going to take this to say he has sun in Scorpio in the 9th house, whatever. We'll just take it as it is. So his sun in Scorpio is going to play a big factor over a multitude of things, because I'm going based off of the day that he was born. That's like his energetic footprint in a manner. Okay. I need to grab my phone because I want to look at the degree. He has his sun on the 12th degree of Scorpio. Now, the 12th degree is tied to the energy of Pisces. Now, we know Pisces is naturally tied to this house right here, right? The house of the subconscious, the house of the unconscious. We also know that Pisces has its co-ruler of Neptune, which is tied to drugs, which is tied to, fogginess, gas, the dream world. Okay. Because, well, spirits, if you haven't noticed, whenever there's like a liquor store, it's normally etc. wine and spirits, very Neptunian, right? Very Piscean. Okay. That's Neptune, that's alcohol. So, there's no surprise there. But yeah, so he has this Piscean degree on his sun sign. And we're actually going to take a look first before we look at the exact degree of 12 degrees. And we're going to take a look at his decan. Now, the decans are pretty much like degree, when I look up the degree sign and we see what does that degree mean, it's the same thing. The decans are the same thing. They just don't go as in depth as our little guide that we have that gives you a full breakdown of what this degree means. Okay, so deacons are pretty much the same. Jesus, I can't get my word out. Okay, so I'm going to share this screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So this is you can use any site you want to, but this is just the site I decided to pull up, astrology.com, pretty basic stuff. But either way, so let's scroll down to the Scorpio decan section. Okay, so here we are. Here are the Scorpio decans. So with his sun sign or his energetic footprint, in my opinion, being on the 12th degree of Scorpio, he would be in the 2nd decan, which, like I said, remember I said the 2nd decan or that 12th degree is tied to Pisces or Neptune. As you can see right here, it says the same thing. Decan 2, 10 degrees to 19 degrees is ruled by Neptune, and this is selflessness, a daydreamer, a romantic, impatient, and moody. So already off the bat with that number 12 or that 12th degree or the 2nd decan energy, yes, we may have someone who, they are selfless, or in their mind, they may think that they're selfless because, again, Neptune is the dream world, it's the subconscious, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to move over into the natural world or the real world. So in his mind, he may be coming from a place of, I'm being selfless, I'm just wanting to help, but that's not actually what is going on. And because he is a dreamer, his energetic footprint is that of a dreamer. It's not hard for him to sell people the dream. He pulls you into the depths of the 12th house, or he pulls you into the depths of his quote unquote dream world. Now, that's the thing about people's dream world, or that's the thing about the 12th house. The 12th house is very hidden, of course, but you just never know what people are dreaming about. You never know how people's subconscious is like wired. And that can be dangerous if you decide to step your tail inside this particular energy. Now, some people can step inside this particular energy and they can be fine because they may live on the mentality of, if you go low, I'm going to go straight to hell, and I'm okay with that. So they will go toe to toe with you. So those particular type of people, he may not really want to have much to do with them, because he may invite them into his, like I said, quote unquote dream world, and they get down there and they see how effed up it is. And then they're just like, oh, that's okay, because my dream world is just as bad or it's worse. So you've met your match. But you also have to be careful as well because of his sun energy footprint being tied to this co-ruler of Pisces. You have to be careful because this may even be someone that, if you are unable to walk into his dream world, he's going to figure out a way to get you there. And that may mean drugs or alcohol. So, and again, in his mind, he may see it as, I'm just trying to get you there. I'm just trying to get you to see what I see. He may even try to chalk it up and say, I want to push you to be your most creative self. But again, if you're not used to that Neptunian energy, if you can't go to the same hell, I'm not saying he's doing this, if you can't go to the same hell that he's going to, you are going to come out and you're not going to be the same. It's almost like coming out of that energy and you're having constant nightmares. Let me think of a good example. Batman, the first Batman that Christopher Nolan did with I like this guy. I should know his name. The first Batman. Who was it? Shoot, how do I not know his name? And I like his Batman. Anyway, the first Batman that he did with whoever his name was, I forgot. They had was it Scarecrow? The little spray or whatever it was that he was spraying on people, the hallucinogen. It's like that. I can see it like that. In a way, Diddy may somewhat be like a scarecrow, the Scarecrow and Batman. Okay, where he kind of like sprays that hallucinogen to get you, in that dream world, to get you into that depths. Now, it was kind of hard for a lot of people to, not fall into that trap with the Scarecrow because, whatever he was spraying, that was some pretty strong stuff. But for me, that would be the best example that I would use in this instance. Man, that phone call kind of threw me off, but no, it didn't. Okay, so, and speaking of impatience as well, that may add to this whole Neptunian energy thing as well. So it's almost just like, if you're not moving fast enough, if you aren't going to the depths that I want you to go, then we're going to have to help you out. So, I mean, maybe this is just me, but on the degree that his sun sign is on, for some reason, it makes me think of like a pharmacist or a pharmaceutical. So you may even have someone who has access to almost like an entire pharmaceutical system. So you may even possibly be surprised the type of hallucinogens that he can dig up underneath the covers or underneath the scene or behind the scene, excuse me. Because again, he's a daydreamer, but he's also impatient and he's also moody. So even with that being said, when he gets into one of his moods, it may not necessarily be, well, I doubt it would be good, either, But let's go ahead and take a look at the degree when it comes to, what was I looking for? Oh, yeah. Let's take a look at the degree when it pertains to his sun. And I'm going to try to see if I have the source in here where it gives a little bit more in depth than the one that I normally go to. I just can't remember what page it starts on. By the way, this same resource I have is on my website. Okay, you guys can print it off. Just make sure you have the file space for it because it's almost 950 pages. Okay, and it's saved as a PDF on my site, so you can access it anytime. Okay, so Scorpio 12 degrees. It says independent, reserved, yet pleasant character. So that kind of goes along with this selflessness energy on the Deacon too. One is a loner, and even with family members and friends, one instinctively keeps one's distance. However, one's intelligence, trustworthiness, and courage wins people's respect and affection. This degree indicates success and steady wealth. It also gives the taste for travels. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that the definition of the 12th degree of Scorpio is incorrect, but again, we can't rule out this energy of Neptune. And I'm actually going to look at one more source and see if it's the same thing. We just cannot rule out, because that's the thing when it pertains to that Neptunian energy. It can kind of sneak up on you if you're not careful. What? Oh, there it is. I'm like, where is it? Here it is. 12 degrees. Da, da, da. Okay, slow. All right, and this particular degree or this particular definition says the Scorpio 12th degree equals business, considerations, broad possibilities, independent success. So it's around the same thing, okay? But let's go back to his chart here. Oh, wrong one. Don't look at that yet. That's his transits. We're going to look at that in just a second. Okay, so here we are. Here's his sun. His sun is making an aspect to his moon. Now, you guys remember me talking about that sun to moon connection, where it's not likely whenever your sun is making a positive, I guess, in a manner aspect to the moon, it's not really likely that you're going to see outburst when it comes to this person. It can come across as kind of calculative because they don't want to and that's the thing with his 12th degree, like the definition says, trustworthy, or that could just be the way he wants to come across. That is the image, that is the persona. Okay, because remember, the moon is tied to your personality. Okay, that is possibly the persona that you have created, carved out, however you want to label it. You have carved out a persona where you want to come across trustworthy. Or I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you are trustworthy to a certain extent. Maybe. Okay. So let's take a look at, where did it go? Oh, see if his sun is, I actually think his sun is. So let's take a look at Scorpio. Oh, did I not hit enter? There it goes. Yes, he has, oh my God, he has 3. So he has a crux, he has Alpheka, and he has Mencken. So we'll start with a crux. Interest in astrology and spirituality, metaphysics, sacrifice, occult. So it's not really shocking that this would be someone who, how they had so many rumors, and that probably still is a rumor revolving around him being deep into metaphysics or spirituality or the occult, or what would they say, Illuminati. Well, this particular fixed star that is situated on his sun is the definition of sacrifice. Okay, so now what he would sacrifice, we don't know. He may sacrifice in a Scorpio way, which is ironic because we know Scorpio has the co-ruler of Pluto, and which Pluto is Hades. We know Hades doesn't really care. There's not really anything that can't be sacrificed. There isn't a line. And that may be a situation here when it pertains to him. There isn't really a line when it pertains to what he will sacrifice. I mean, maybe family, but then again, you never know. And that is the double-edged sword in a way, I guess, when it pertains to him. So let's read the next one. The next fixed sign on top of his sun is, this one is exact conjunct. These two are exact conjunct. So we have Alphecca. Honor, dignity, literate, brilliant, poetic, scandals, betrayal and love, sorrow through children. Okay? And then we have Mencken. We have wisdom, we have astronomy, divination, medicine, botany, and music. What did I talk about just a second ago on that second deacon? Remember I talked about I've said specifically for him. I'm not saying this is for every single Scorpio that's born on the 4th that has a chart similar to his. I'm not saying that. But for him, it does give me that vibe of a pharmacist or pharmaceuticals. You know, almost, I mean, I hate to say it, or this is just my opinion, is giving, you know, somebody who mixes things to almost maybe get you in a zombie state, and you know what the word is, but I can't say it on the YouTube. But yes, I wouldn't necessarily put that past this person. That's my opinion. I don't know him from a can of paint, but as well, yeah, you know, not every, and that's the thing about astrology. That's why I said I'm not saying this is for every single Scorpio, because I know a few people that's born on the 4th and they wouldn't do such a thing. But the thing is with him, that's why I said you don't know. He doesn't really have a line, possibly, in terms of what he's willing to sacrifice. And when you don't really have a line, then you become the darker side of Scorpio that a lot of people don't really want to see. And that may be something that maybe a lot of people don't know. I think there's of course, there's two sides to every sign, but when it pertains to Scorpio, I feel like there really is two sides to every sign, and two sides to them. And it all depends on how they grow up. You know, some people can grow up in a like not so great environment and they could turn that around and they be good. But for some reason, when it pertains to Scorpios, that is really the thing. How they grew up, or if something happened to them very early on that was so traumatic, it's almost like they turn over to that darker side of Scorpio and they don't really come out of it. Okay, you think Cancers hang on to the past. Have you ever dated or met a Scorpio? They hang on to the past. Like, oh my God, let it go. It's my opinion again. So we kind of took a look at his fixed signs on that one, and we're going to go back to his chart in just a second, but let's take a look at his transits. Okay, so I haven't really done this on the other people that I've done. So this is Diddy's transit chart. It doesn't have the circle version on here because that's just the way the software is made. But this is where these are his short-term transits. So these are transits that probably going to make a big impact. As you can see, they separate short-term, long-term. So short-term could be like, 6 months or less, probably less than that, actually. Long-term, we're looking at, could be a year, could be longer than that. Okay, so he has quite a few, but he has Mars conjunct Uranus in a very tight orb. It's literally sitting right on top of each other. As you can see here, his Mars in Libra is in conjunction to your natal Uranus. Okay, I had that backwards, but you get the point. Okay, so I didn't realize Mars in Libra right now. I guess I should pay attention. But so since transit Mars is in conjunction to his natal Uranus. Now we know Uranus rules unexpected things, right? Unexpected changes. Uranus kind of makes me think of like the stock market, or it makes me think of like cryptocurrency. And especially I believe Uranus is still in Taurus. So anything tied to money, maybe anything tied to speculation. Okay. So with that transit happening right now for him, this can bring a lot of unforeseen, could be circumstances, could be surprises. I don't know if downfall would fall into that particular category, but maybe. Now, I'm saying unforeseen circumstances because whenever this transit is happening, it can be very difficult to follow through with a plan. And especially since Uranus is in the sign of Taurus right now, I mean, it almost makes me think of this might be an extreme example, but it makes me think of like a dad or a dad who owns a big business and he's been doing some stuff he should not be doing. So he knows that something is about to come. So guess what he does? He transfers assets over so that something still is there when he goes down. Kind of like the same thing that Trump did when it came to his son. I think he transferred or he sold his property to his son, Don Jr. It's kind of like that. When you know something could possibly be coming. Now, it may not necessarily be as extreme as what Trump is going through, but we just never know. Okay. So like I said, with this particular transit, it can be very difficult to plan ahead or to just follow through with the plan. And Mars is in Libra. So, right. Yeah. Mars in Libra. What does Libra rule? Libra, 7th house, relationships, one-to-one partnerships, business agreements. So it could be something may be on the downturn when it pertains to a business, maybe even a business deal possibly going wrong when it pertains to a partner or something of that magnitude. So now you are in a little bit of a frenzy. You're scrambling a little bit to try to get things together because you know something is coming, or you've already been informed something is coming. Again, with his sun being on like a Neptune degree, it's a possibility that he has already dreamed about this because remember, Neptune is a dream world. But to continue with this transit, this is also not going to be a good time for him when it pertains to relationships with people in authority, or if he is the authority, it would not necessarily be a good time when it pertains to that. So I already talked about it. Remember I said, Mars in Libra rules over the one-to-one agreements, business, could even possibly business contracts, but we can't rule out that Libra is also tied to the diplomat or the law. So maybe even multiple lawsuits. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time, but these lawsuits may be completely different than the ones that he's faced in the past. Now, this also may be a situation where he's doing things off of impulse because he's feeling irritable. He's feeling like something is coming. He may even be having that particular energy, like somebody's about to stab him in the back. It almost comes across like, maybe even feeling like that. Oh my God, is somebody trying to kill me? It's like he may have kind of like thought that before, but this time he may be feeling like, oh my God, this is serious. Like this is serious. I think this person may really try to do me over in that way, in that extreme way. Okay. And also, health may not necessarily be going that great either because we have Mars. Mars is tied to knives. We know Libra is tied to beauty. So maybe he's thinking about going under the knife. I wouldn't even be surprised if he has went under the knife when it pertains to plastic surgery. Guys can get lipo. It may be that, but you don't necessarily know how your body is going to react to that. It may be cool at first, but he ain't a spring chicken. He's over 50. He's not getting younger. You can't reverse that. Okay. So another thing, the positive side that could come from this particular transit of Mars being slapped on top of his Uranus, new project, starting a very unexpected venture. So it could be out with the old, in with the new. So it's like out with the old set of victims, bringing in a new set of victims. So you got to watch it because remember, like I said, at his core, his foundation, he's a dreamer. He's a talker. He may in some way be like a manipulator because he has that ability to stay cool, calm, collected, even if he is telling you a lie. And if you're not good at catching that, if you're not good at discernment, you're going to fall, like I said, into those depths of hell that you don't want to be in. There are some people, like I said, that will go there with you. They will hold your hand through the hot coals of hell, and they won't give a damn. But a lot of people ain't never, a lot of people don't go there, aren't going to go there, are afraid to go there. So you just have to be careful, I would say, in a manner when it comes to dealing with him. Anything tied to contract, I wouldn't sign a contract with him, but that's just me. And it may work out for somebody else. Okay, let's look at another transit he has. He has his Venus square his sun in a tight orb. Can we here we go. Yeah. Venus in 12 degrees Leo, which we know Venus just stopped its retrograde motion. So now it has went direct. Okay, so Venus in Leo is now in square to his natal sun in Scorpio. Of course, we can see. And this is why it's an exact, okay, because Venus is at 12 degrees and his sun is on 12 degrees. So that's what makes the orb really tight. It's a really tight orb, meaning that this is bringing big effects in a way. Now, in what way? Let's see. Okay, here we go. So, whenever transit Venus is square one's natal sun, then this can be a good time, but it comes with its challenges. So, in a way, this particular transit may make one particularly lazy. Like you want to have fun. It's like retiring. He may literally be in that particular energy where he is ready to retire. And it's very interesting how I just said transferring over assets, So transferring over assets could be because he's just ready to be done, and because this transit can be one where you don't really feel like doing anything, any type of hard labor. It's kind of just like, you know what? I did all that. And especially since his natal sun is on a degree tied to business, this is where we're going at. I don't really feel like running a business. I kind of like want to run around. I want to have fun. It may even be one of those things where he may be thinking about all the relationships that he's tarnished. Well, the ones that he deems to be important to him. He may be thinking about that. And that may be something that he is kind of like maybe wanting to have a do-over. Another thing with this particular transit with the Venus square natal sun, and this kind of sucks the way this goes, because with this particular, like I said, connection, now all of a sudden you may have someone who is being empathetic, who's being sympathetic, who now is seeing the other side of the people's emotions that you kind of screwed over, toyed with years and years or years ago or for years. So I guess in the good sense, it's like, oh my God, you're finally coming around. But in a bad sense, it's just like, oh my God, why would you pull somebody through the ringer for decades? And then now all of a sudden you see how it feels. And he may be coming to this realization because he may have tried to go into a partnership, or he may have got into a partnership. And now you realize that they see you the same way they see everybody else. I mean, it could be as simple as, Meghan Markle. She's half black. I guarantee you, she didn't realize she was black until people made her realize that she was black. Because now they're kind of just like, we don't care if you're half white or half black. You marry someone that is of the institution who's completely white. We don't care about your 50% white side. You're still black. We don't want you here. The same thing could even possibly happen for Diddy in a way. Now you're starting to see, or you realize, because somebody has treated you the way that they treat everybody else, and you're flabbergasted. You're shocked because you immediately go to, well, I've created this business. I've did that. They don't care. They see you like they see everybody else. You're no different. And this could be what's going on with him right now. And I know it sucks, like I said, because he could have took a whole bunch of people through the ringer. And that's why I said he may even be trying to repair relationships, I guess, in a way. But it's not going to be as easy as he thinks. But he also may not really care that much. For him, it may just be as simple as, okay, I said sorry. That's all you're going to get from me. You know? But this also, this transit, again, with Venus touching the sun, can also be one where you are going off on new creative ventures. So opening a new business. Remember, like I said, starting over. It's like you want to have a redo. Now, it may go better the second time around, but you can't really teach an old dog new tricks. I think in a way, regardless of, what's going on with him, I think in a way he still is going to be who he is at the core. I don't care how much money he's made. I don't care if he's having a come to Jesus meeting right now. Okay, that's fine. But at your core, I still think you are who you are. But anyway, and another oh yeah, and it's weird that I talked about plastic surgery and he has to be careful about that if he's trying to do that. Remember, it's so interesting that I talked about lipo, because whenever Venus is squaring the natal sun, this can be a time where someone may overindulge, overeat, so gluttony. Okay. I mean, it's almost like I wouldn't even be surprised. People get gastric sleeves, they get gastric bypass all the time, even if they're not really that big. The doctor could be as simple as, well, stop drinking, exercise more, and you'll be fine. But they don't want to hear that because, again, he has a degree where he's very impatient. So he's not going to do what you probably should do to preserve your health. It's going to be, no, I want it now. How much is it going to cost? And that's the unfortunate thing as well when it pertains to money. Some people, or let's say not some, a lot of people see the money and they're willing to throw their morals out the window for cash. It ain't worth it. Okay? Because you don't want to have somebody that, passes away or whatever the situation is on your hand. I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm just using it as an example. Okay? So it kind of does look like maybe in a way he's trying to go for a reboot. Okay? We have Sun sextile Sun. Okay? Then we have Mercury sextile Sun. I kind of do want to take a look at this Neptune opposite Pluto. Okay? Because I feel like that this is something that we need to take a look at. Neptune opposite. But it may be already what I said. No. Okay. Oh God, I'm getting hungry. Okay, so, and he has this in a tight orb, as we can see here. See, Neptune at 26 degrees Pisces, which is Neptune is in Pisces right now. It's in opposition to his natal Pluto in 26 degrees Virgo. See, these two are connecting because they are of the same modality. Pisces, Virgo are mutable energies, and they both are at 26 degrees. So that's why these two are in connection right now. Okay. So whenever this transit is happening, whenever your Neptune is touching your, my goodness, it never stops ringing. Whenever your Neptune is touching your Pluto in opposition, this can be unexpected change and loss, leading to an unclear understanding. So remember I gave that example where, like I said, it's like you've possibly had threats in the past, like, I'm going to off you, I'm going to off you, I'm going to off you. And then now those threats are starting to come real because now you may be coming across somebody or coming across somebody or people that are willing to go to that same depths of hell as you. And it may scare you. It's like, do you guys remember the show Beyond Scared Straight? It's like that. You have the kid and they're so tough. And then you get them in that particular position and now they meet somebody who's a lot tougher that will pretty much cut them up and eat them on a platter. They don't know what to do. They're scared, And I'm not saying he's scared. He could be. But so for him during this particular time, if he's making commitments, it probably would not necessarily be a good thing to do because these are probably going to lead to unexpected change and loss that would not benefit him. Now, on the positive side, this can be a transit where person, or let's say inner truths about himself will be revealed, and he will have to accept them. So remember, we talked about finally seeing the other side of the coin, finally seeing how you have affected somebody's emotions in a negative way because of whatever it is that you've done. But you've only come to this realization because somebody now has did the same thing to you and you can't take it. So now you're self-reflecting. You're just like, oh my God, wow, that's how it feels. But it shouldn't have to go to this particular type of extreme for you to understand the position that you put people in or how you make people feel. It shouldn't be this extreme. Now, this is also because we know Neptune is about the spiritual world, etc. We know this could be a time as well where for him, he could be trying to focus on his spiritual growth. So he may be digging deeper into spirituality, metaphysics, but now possibly instead of it being on maybe the more darker side, maybe now he's trying to go on the more lighter side, but he's still having that battle within himself when it pertains to doing the right thing. As I said, this is my opinion. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. So I don't know how long this particular revelation situation is going to last. And we're going to look at one more and then we'll go over to his chart. So he has Pluto conjunct Mars. Let's take a look at that. Now, again, guys, the ones I'm talking about right now, these are just transits that he's going through. We haven't went over his natal chart. Not the way that I normally go over the natal chart. Okay, so we're going to look at this one right here. Pluto conjunct Mars. Okay, so Pluto, which is in retrograde right now, we should know this because I've been talking about it on my Twitter. Pluto, which is retrograding back through Capricorn, is going to move to Aquarius eventually, but that'll be more so next year. It is in conjunction to Diddy's natal Mars and Capricorn, and it's exact conjunct. Okay. Well, it looks like in his chart over here, if you guys can see it. So where Pluto is at right now in terms of the world is sitting right here. So Pluto is like in the 12th. Mars is in the 12th for him. Okay. So that's kind of like the transit that we're going to be looking at. So, this particular situation this particular transit is not bad, but it can be. Because if he is using, I guess, his power or his influence for good, then this could be good. However, it can be bad if you're still up to the same old tricks, which can avoid now, as in the past, it may have been risky, but not as super risky, but now it could be. Now you could be going to dangerous places, dangerous situations, dangerous risk, anything of that. If you are using your power for evil and not good. Because also with these two conjunct, we know Pluto, Mars, Pluto is the co-ruler of Scorpio. The natural ruler of Scorpio is Mars. So we can see a big burst of energy with this particular conjunction as well. Now all of a sudden, remember, like I said, creative projects, you have all these ideas. And that's what I was saying before. And I'm not knocking the ideas. Good for you to have creative ideas. However, it kind of gives that energy where it's just like, you know what? I'm done with you. I'm going to let you go type of thing. Like I've milked out of you all I could milk. And it was fun while it lasted, even though you probably were almost completely destitute at some time and I really didn't give a shit. But it's nice knowing you. So now it makes me think, are your apologies really sincere? But they could be sincere. I'm not going to take that away from him if that's the truth. It could be sincere. Okay. But another thing with transit Pluto conjunct Mars, it can be a time where you may even try to dominate others. So that's what I was saying before. You're out with the old, in with the new. So you're just bringing in possibly new victims. And I hate to say it that way, but hopefully it doesn't end up to be that case. But again, in my opinion, I don't really think much has changed with this guy. I think he's still going to be moody, and it could just be right now is a good time, or like I said, right now, maybe financially speaking or business speaking, it may not necessarily be the best time. So you got to do something. Things may be crumbling around you. So now you're trying to move that energy or direct that energy into new projects because you're trying to make up for what you lost. But you may be trying to put it out there to the atmosphere like, I'm just ready to retire. I'm ready to sit on down. But I don't know if I buy it. I mean, if that's really happening, I would say good for him. And I guess good that you've turned the corner. Maybe. Anyway, so we looked at the transits. That's kind of like, you know what? And I didn't pay attention to the degrees, did I? Nope. Share this tab. Okay, so this one was really important. Is Mars conjunct Uranus. So let's take a look at his, where is it? 6 degrees Libra. What does that say? Yep. 6 degrees Libra, which is what his Uranus, the degree that his Uranus is on. It says falling, weak nature, drawn to destruction by the opposite sex. Okay, so some sort of a lady, some sort of a lady has came in and brought some sort of unexpected change, but it's not in a good way. They caught him at his weakness, and he may still be weak at this particular point. So, I mean, I hate to say it, it's almost like, I guess now, if you're into that sort of thing, or if that's what you want to do, now would kind of like be a time to possibly try to sneak on up in there. I guess if you're trying to deal with Diddy on maybe a personal way, because he's in a time of weakness right now. And this is going to continue. Oh my God. We have a simp on our hands. I mean, I guess there's nothing wrong with that when it comes to like for the right person, but he's maybe simping over multiple different people. Oh boy. Unexpected changes, following weak nature, drawn to destruction of the opposite sex. But I think I kind of talked about that a little bit when it pertained to when I did the composite chart of Tupac and Notorious. Remember, like I said, a woman may be at the helm of why that whole situation fell. We may be seeing a little bit of the same story, possibly, when it pertains to Diddy. And not in that extreme way. It could be in a different way. Karma. I know it took years, but that's kind of like what it feels like to me when it pertains to him. And of course, it's coming by way of a woman. Now, who that woman could be, not sure. Because it doesn't necessarily mean she's going to be one that we see. It could be someone that, is completely behind the scenes, But didn't he have a baby? So I can see it going this way, which may be a little bit extreme. And this may play onto the whole falling nature. I could almost see in a manner of him transferring or moving over a huge portion of assets to the baby he just had. Talk about a slap in the face to his other children. That may be the part of the weak nature. That may be the falling here. It may already be done, and his other kids may not even have a freaking clue. But again, wouldn't that be a slap in the face? So it's almost just like this child, because I believe he have like a baby by a woman who's like, isn't she like Filipino or something like that? It doesn't matter. But what if that is the woman what if that is the type of woman that he actually wanted to have his kids by overall? So again, like I said, isn't that such a slap in the face? Like, wow, we're not good enough to get a big portion of the assets. Why does she have to get a big portion of the assets? This is the type of movement that you may end up getting from this guy, which, like I said, would be a slap in the face. I mean, couldn't be my dad, because that would be screwed up, especially if who knows, I've seen things and I kept it quiet or whatever the situation is. Slap in my freaking face. Well, even though he has his degree of coming across as trustworthy, maybe he's not well, I already said that. He may not necessarily be as trustworthy as he claims to be. For him, everything may be completely selfish, not selfless. But you may possibly want to be seen as a humanitarian. You may possibly want to be seen as somebody who is for the community. But I don't know. Why now? That's the question. Why now? Especially probably at a time where you may not even really be making as much money as you were maybe 15 years ago. Why now? I don't think anybody's really looking at the why. I'm looking at the why. But, it is what it is. So just taking a little bit of a tiny break. Victorious, I'm not sure. Oh, thank you, High Priestess. I could not think of who the freaking guy's name is. Who is it? Oh, Christian Bale. There it is. Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale. Christian Bale was Batman when they started the first redo of the Batman series. I don't know who the Batman was before Christian Bale, but my guy, I should know Christian Bale from A Hole in the Wall because he's good. He's a good actor. But that's the movie. That Scarecrow in the very first one. Okay. It's good. Anyway, so moving on over to his chart. I'll just try to see if you guys have any questions about anything. I've never seen Peaky Blinders. I've heard about that. Michael Keaton may have been before Christian Bale. Okay, let's move. Let's try to see if you guys have any questions. Okay, so now we're on over to the chart. Okay, so we've already looked at his sun energy and we've already looked at the degree that his sun is on. Now, Saturn in Taurus is a very interesting placement because we know that Taurus likes money. So now and I think Jennifer Lopez also has Saturn in Taurus. I'm curious how this goes because it makes me think of, I guess, when Saturn and Taurus eventually gets to a particular age, at that particular point, they just want to retire. They just want to rest because they've made all their money. So I don't know if that maybe is the consensus when it comes to Saturn and Taurus person. Maybe eventually they all get to a particular point where they can just retire and just do nothing and they have money over money over money. Maybe. Okay, I'm not saying that's going to be for everybody, but it's interesting. Anyway, so let's take a look. Now I have my notes already written down on the matter. Hopefully I didn't delete it. I hope I didn't delete it, but it wouldn't surprise me. He has moon in the 7th, going in the 8th. I'm curious if he actually has moon in the 8th. Again, we don't have his exact birth time, but I'm just curious if he just so happens to have moon going into the 8th house, which would be interesting because I don't really think that moon does that great in the 8th house since the 8th house is naturally tied to Scorpio, right? So, I don't know. Where is it? Okay, so he has sun, moon. Oh, he has sun and Saturn. I didn't even look at that. I guess I don't need glasses yet. I'm not gonna get. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna get glasses at all. I'm not even gonna put that out there. I didn't even see that. Just gonna make this bigger. So he has sun, Saturn. He has sun, moon. Trying to see if he has anything else from the sun. Anyway, sun and Saturn are in opposition. So in this instance, I don't think I would consider this aspect as favorable. No, I don't think I would consider this favorable. So with the sun and his sun and Saturn making an aspect, this can be an energy where it can be bad for health. Isn't that ironic how we talked about that? Okay. We were just talking about that in his transits. Watch out for the lipo. I guess if you're trying to get a gastric sleeve, you still got to watch out for any type of surgery. It doesn't matter if you're Diddy or you're just regular average old Joe like me. You have to watch out for any particular surgery. Surgery don't really care at that point who has money. If something goes wrong, it don't matter. It don't matter if you're a billionaire or you are just a second grade teacher. It don't matter. If something goes wrong, something went wrong. Okay? So, with this particular aspect, it also can bring limitation in every direction and also can bring disappointments. So, community. So, with his Saturn in the third house of your neighborhood, okay? This is literally like turning your back on your own kind. What did I just say just a second ago? Didn't he just have a baby? And the baby is definitely a different race than his other children. We may have an issue here because for some reason, this is just my feeling. This may be someone where you have your successor. You already have your successor in your mind, whatever. And then this baby comes along. And all of a sudden, the baby becomes the successor. And the baby can barely walk, talk, any of that. But you've been like, I don't want to say grooming because it's a bad word, but then again, but you've been trying to make your successor ready to take over your empire for years. And then now all of a sudden you want to give it to this baby. Because that's the community that you really want to belong to. Why? I don't know. But in some sort of a way, or at some particular point, he was going to turn his back on his neighborhood. Now, he may have followed in the same footsteps as his father. If that, I don't know his father. I don't know what happened there. Okay. But he may be a part of that dynamic of men or whatever you want to say, where they're making it seem as if one particular race of women just are terrible at being girlfriends or wives just because of the race that they are. Misogyn is very misogynistic. That may not necessarily be that's probably not the right term. Okay. It kind of gives that particular energy of, like I talked about with Meghan Markle, spending all these years probably thinking that you're white until somebody makes you realize that you're black. And that could have even possibly been the same thing in a way that happened to Diddy. Somebody can preach, about them being this particular race and being strong, blah, 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 blah. But that may not really be what it is deep down in their subconscious. That's why I said, you don't know what the hell's going on in people's mind. You don't know what the hell's going on in people's subconscious. Anyway, to continue forward with this Saturn and Sun energy, this particular, and we're talking about this connection right here, Sun and Saturn, this also can be an aspect where it can make one selfish. I talked about it. Selfish, jealous, faint-hearted, miserly, spiteful, and malicious. It also can create disharmony with one's father, superiors, and in general with old people. Now, when the sun is strong, then this is improved. Then jealousy is not that bad. Selfishness is not that bad. Being faint-hearted is not that bad. But again, remember, like I said about the neighborhood, you turned your back on the neighborhood. It's not just out of the blue sky that he feels like he is a part of the younger generation and you're not. Old people do not want to deal with this guy. They are not going for it. At one point, they were going for it. But now that they see him for who he is, they are paying him dust. The energy, it's almost like Beyonce. She gets a lot of energy from the people that watch her, whatever. So they're giving her energy. It's an energetic exchange. It's a spiritual exchange, possibly in some sort of way, even with you without having to touch her. That's not happening anymore when it pertains to him. And it possibly goes back to what I was talking about here, right here. Remember? Sacrifice, metaphysics, spirituality, astrology, interest, and occult. Scandals, betrayal, sorrow, honor, dignity. Okay, yeah, literate. Again, like I said, I wouldn't sign a contract with this guy. Because in a way, to me, especially, he has his Mercury coming pretty close to his sun, and his Mercury is in the ninth house, the ninth house as well. Godlike complex, the sun is there as well. Godlike complex, again, higher knowledge, higher education. Again, the ninth house is a spiritual house, so it kind of goes along with what we are talking about with the fixed signs. This makes me think of somebody who thinks that they're the smartest in the room. You think you're so smart. You think you're such an intellectual. And in a way, he probably is when it comes to the room that he's in. You know? But him being in a room of like tech gurus and scientists, or shoot, the Elon Musk type, he wouldn't make it. So it's almost like, in a manner, you turn your back on your community, but at the same time, said community also rolls you up in the ranks. So again, like the text was saying, because his sun and his Saturn aspect are not really in harmony, you have someone that what can be malicious, can be manipulative, disharmonious, miserly, doesn't get along with old people. And this could be another thing as well. You know how they always talk about how, in a way, women have an issue with getting old? This guy has an issue with getting old as well. You are not a part of Gen Z. You ain't never going to be a part of Gen Z or a millennial. You need to get over it. Accept the fact that you're getting old. That's it. Accept the fact that you're going to die like everybody else. And it's so odd because he is a Scorpio, but it's almost just like, I don't want to accept death. Maybe he could be one of those particular people where he even possibly maybe tries to find a way to keep him here even after death. It's so weird. I was watching Get Out last night, and how the old people, they didn't want to die, but they were, of course, if you've never seen the movie, crazy, they were using Black people as pretty much their vehicles or their bodies so that they don't have to die, so they can start over with life. He kind of gives me that type a little bit. Doesn't matter who it could be. Okay. But back to what I was saying about the sun in the Saturn, to continue. Oh, okay. We already talked about that. So we looked at the moon, right? So since we were kind of talking about Mercury, let's take a look at Mercury. And another thing I was going to say, he may be kind of rude because he has Mercury in Scorpio, which can bring a very sarcastic type of energy. It all may be resting bitch face. It may be one of those things as well. Judgmental. Okay. Judgmental. Yeah, judgmental as well. I mean, he shouldn't be judging anybody, but whatever. Okay, so Mercury and Saturn. So since he has this particular aspect, this is what we're looking at from Mercury to Saturn. It looks like he has Mercury to Mars as well. But either way, so with this, you may have somebody who can like corals, very critical. Isn't that weird? I just said judgmental. Critical, jealous, discontented, you're not happy with anything. Remember, I talked about it before at the beginning. I said, with him, it kind of seems he's very particular, maybe even a little bit OCD. So I think this may possibly be where this comes into play. With that discontented, not happy with anything, revengeful, unfortunate, melancholic, somber, mistrustful. A lot of pet peeves come with this. And whenever his pet peeves are triggered, temper. Grumbling, selfish, faint-hearted again. It gives many troubles, difficulties arising from all that comes under Mercury. And we know Mercury is tied to contracts. But we also know Mercury is tied to literature, younger siblings, okay, traveling or short distance travel, because the third house is Gemini. Gemini is our short distance travels, or the third house, our short distance travels, okay? So that's kind of like what we're looking at. So we have two aspects with him on account of jealousy. And you see where it lands. It lands in the house of his neighbors. It lands in the house of his younger siblings. Is he an only child? I mean, I've never cared enough to do research on that. So I don't know if he is an only child. But if he is an only child, I feel like that probably is a good thing, because if he's not only child, again, difficulties, troubles would come to his younger brother, probably on the account of him. Okay. Now looks like he has Mercury and Mars, so we can take a look at that as well. Okay, where are you? So, with Mercury and Mars, especially with Mercury being that planet tied to literature and our communication, and Mars being like that grit, that can be that aggressiveness. It also can be like that, that ambassador, or at least they want to be the ambassador. With this particular connection, you can have someone that is disagreeable. Remember, like I said, that energy of somebody where they may be a little bit of a know-it-all, or they may just think that they know everything. So they're going to disagree with you about everything. It's going to be kind of hard to shut this one up. They're never going to understand your point of view until it happens to them. Then all of a sudden, they no longer want to be disagreeable. Then all of a sudden, it's like, you're right. But it will take a lot for them to get to that point of, okay, you were right. Even then, they may never really want to admit it, that you were right. That's terrible. Lack of accountability. Okay. Definitely lack of accountability. Lack of self-reflection. But remember, I talked about when it pertains to his transits that he's having right now, he may literally be going through something that is forcing him to be accountable or self-reflect. Almost like that dad that decides to walk out on their family or walk out on the mother of their child because they want to do whatever the hell they want to do. And they don't want to hear you complaining or crying about having to take care of a child because I can do it. And then something unfortunately happens and the mom has to give over custody. And now the dad gets a taste of his own medicine. Now you understand. But why does it have to take something so extreme for you to get what I'm saying? Why? That's irritating. Okay. Anyway, to continue with this particular connection. So you have someone who can also be very exaggerating, sarcastic, which is what I was saying before, also impatient. But that kind of goes along with his 12-degree Scorpio sun. It's on a deacon, which talks about being impatient, being moody. Okay. And also, remember I was talking about before, it's always disagreeable energy. You're not listening, so if you're talking to this guy, I would say just don't even talk to him. He may even like it more. If you hear my stomach growling, I'm sorry. I'm so hungry. He may even prefer it more when it pertains to dealing with people, women, whatever it is, who just are yes men. Just shut up and just do what I want you to do. He cannot take, I don't think he would be able to take a strong woman in his life. He would not be able to deal with it because he wants everybody to be agreeable. So can you imagine a woman that comes into his life that is not going for the BS? He's gonna probably go back to acting like a toddler all of a sudden. Oh, now all of a sudden you can't talk. Oh, now all of a sudden So he knows what he's doing. He knows the type of people that he needs to energetically bring into his camp or whatever it is. These are people that are agreeable. Because if they were disagreeable and if they knew better, they wouldn't be in his presence. They would do better. But he gets them possibly at a vulnerable time, or he just, he may even get people who are illiterate. So then you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're signing. You don't know any of this. I wouldn't sign a contract with this one, but he wouldn't come my way anyway because he know better. It's not going to happen. But he avoids people that have a backbone, you know? So I don't know if you've possibly wanted to meet this guy and you've never met this guy, pat yourself on the back because you probably got a backbone. And he's going to discard you, or he's going to do something that you don't want him to do because you stand up for yourself. Maybe if he met, but then again, maybe early on, if he had met somebody with a backbone, maybe he would be different. Or maybe early on, whenever he was a child, maybe if he had somebody that actually stood up for him, that actually protected him, he probably would be different. Remember, like I said, in my opinion, I feel like something possibly ends up happening to Scorpios at some point, most times early on. And they drive over to the dark side, and it's hard to pull them out of that because they're stuck in that particular energy of what happened to them. And, but anyway, moving forward to continue with what I was talking about, okay? So also with Mars and Mercury making a square, this can also be someone where they're not going to let you get a word out. They're not going to let you finish talking. I mean, already I'm irritated with him. Like, this would be one of those where I would have to be like, you know what, shut the F up. Like, I'm talking. You have to be, it has to almost in a way be on that type of level because he really, and I just think, to me, that just gives me somebody that just has no respect whatsoever. Doesn't matter who you are. And even if he is even talking in front of the president or whoever it could be, in his mind, he's just waiting for you to shut the hell up for him to speak. He ain't listening to what you're talking about. That's why I said, I don't know. It doesn't really, hopefully he's changing, seriously. But I'm not optimistic. Okay? Anyway. Oh my God, I am so hungry. Anyway, also, I think there was somebody else that I did a chart on where they were like, what I said, if this person calls you their friend, you ain't a friend. It would be the same thing when it comes to Diddy, especially with this Mars Mercury, because remember, Mercury is your younger siblings. Don't fall into that trap of him calling, oh, that's my little sister, that's my little brother. No, you're not. Don't fool yourself. You are not nothing of sorts to him. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. For your sake. Okay, so what else? Oh, does his moon hits Mercury and his moon hits the sun. So now moon and Mercury, remember, especially when it pertains to probably, I guess, business, that could be where he probably is very street smart. I probably would give him that. And that could be where this whole energy comes from of him thinking that he's the smartest in the room because of the street smarts that he has accumulated over the years and has allowed him to step through doors and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, whatever. That's good. Good for you. But also he's quick-witted. Okay. He's an observer. So the stalker stigma that possibly Scorpios get, it is not lost upon him. He's probably a little bit of a stalker. He observes, even though he's probably running his mouth, giving you an intellect, but he is an observer. It's like that person where they want you to talk just to see what they can use against you. Just keep talking, keep talking. That's the only time he's really going to listen. But he's not listening because he's interested in you. Just keep talking and just give me something that I can use or I can get you on because you're going to slip up. Oh boy. And oh well, adaptable, but yada yada. So, oops, I lost my place. What else? I don't think I'm not saying there's not much else that we couldn't look at. Venus. It looks like his Venus is conjunct Jupiter, and let me see, is it making an aspect to his Mars? I can't tell. Venus conjunct Jupiter. Venus is squaring his Mars. And the orb is not so tight. It's kind of far away, but nonetheless, it's still there. Venus and Mars. Where are you? Okay. Somebody who can be impulsive, inconstant, sensuous, and vain. That doesn't surprise me. Love of pleasures, little self-esteem, careless, prodigy. There is danger of divorce or troubles with the partner or wife if he was to get married. With women, it is unfavorable from the moral standpoint. With this aspect, the moral standpoint in particular should be considered. Okay, since we're talking about moral standpoint, his Venus is in Libra, so his Venus is at home. His Mars is in Capricorn, which I believe it would be considered exalted. Let me scroll back over just to make sure it's here somewhere. Yes, Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So, morals. Let's talk about morals, shall we? Let's take a look. Hold on. Where'd it go? Anyway, I was trying to see if I had already taken down notes on what I was talking about, but I haven't. So I have to scroll back through. So let's go to... Oh, wait, I already have a page open for that. Okay, so Venus 22 degrees Libra. Artistic, research, careful, systematic, patient, observation. We were just talking about the observation, weren't we? We were just talking about observation. Now let's look at his Capricorn Mars, which is on the 29th degree. Okay, it's on a karmic degree. Anything 29 degrees is karmic. There's some sort of karmic something that needs to be, I guess, debt settled, whatever you want to call it. Since Mars is in the sign of business, structure, the career, I guess prestige, if you want to call it. Maybe that could be where that's coming from. But let's read the actual degree. Collecting, decline, ambitious, directness, concentration. So that may possibly go towards my theory that we talked about whenever we were over here. And we talked about this one right here. His Mars, or excuse me, Mars in conjunct with natal Libra. And I think actually, here we go. Neptune sextile Mars. Neptune is in retrograde. Mars is on 29th degree of Capricorn, which is tied to decline. Let's take a look. Something is happening with his businesses. Now, what's happening to it? I don't know. But something is happening to his businesses. Now that I'm looking at it. He may end up giving his business to somebody he's sleeping with, which would be stupid. But then again, that's on you, buddy. This is a very odd turn of events. What the hell happened? Something has transpired in his life to make him have somewhat of a, I guess, awakening, whatever, but I'm not really sold on it. But it could go back to, like I said before, somebody has treated him, the way that he has treated others when it comes to business. And now you just don't know what to do. You can't handle it. So now it's almost just like, I don't want to be a part of the business anymore. Now you're trying to give it up. Now you're trying to possibly pass it down. Now you want to step into this era of, I want to be fun. I'm trying to be understanding, yada, yada, yada. Unless this is happening coming up, where he could be losing a business, losing a major contract, or he could be losing something. But he may try to play it off as like, well, I was ready to retire. I want to spend. No, you don't. No, you don't. Something happened. And you thought you were the smartest person in the room. You possibly thought that you could get over somebody, and somebody possibly got over on you. Now you want to cry wolf. Now you're crying wolf because somebody has treated you a way that you don't want to be treated. Imagine that. Whatever. But I guess if this is the way it has to be for the lesson to be learned, so freaking be it. But in a way, maybe karma is... Oh, whoops. In a way, maybe karma is coming to bite him in the butt. Oh, gosh. What time is it? Was that just a second ago? Oh, well, you guys probably missed that whole entire thing. Sorry. Well, the last thing that you heard clearly, because I can go back and repeat it. Okay. Oh, I don't know. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean for that to happen. I probably should stop moving around my little cord that my mic is attached to. That would probably help. um, anyway, so I talked about transits, talked a little bit about his chart. Um, one of you did ask a question, actually. What did you say? What did you say? I think somebody said something. I think somebody was wondering. Oh, okay. All right, Kim. I heard somebody say it was chopping up. I was like, oh my God, no bueno. Um, somebody said something. I think somebody wanted to know if Diddy is on the other team. I don't know. I don't know if we would see that in a chart. I mean, I can't say it's not possible, but I guess I didn't ever think about that. Um, I'm curious what that would be. Well, I think he doesn't have any Aquarius place. I mean, he has Aquarius ascendant by my chart, but that's not the exact birth time. At least, we don't know for sure, so I can't really say that. Let me look and see. What's Aquarius degrees? Aquarius is 11, I think 22, maybe. Let me look at my thing. Ooh. Okay, so Aquarius is 11, 23. 11 and 23. 11 and 23. Midhaven may possibly be, but we can't really go on that. 11 and 23. I don't know. He doesn't have any Aquarius degrees. I'm taking a look and see. Let's see. Maybe he's, well, hold on. I'm trying to see if there's a fixed star possibly tied to this, the question that you guys are asking. But I have to do a little bit of research, I guess. Okay, so no, not there. Venus and Mars, do they make an aspect? Yes. Sagittarius, nope. Yep. 5, 7, 8. Okay, so 5. 7, 8. Interesting. Yeah, Venus Mars aspects, it was so interesting that I was thinking maybe Mars Uranus. Mars Neptune. Yes. Okay, so here's what we got, guys, just based off of what I'm looking at here. These are some possibilities for questions if we're talking maybe bisexual or something like that. So Venus Mars, he does have his square. Okay. Also Mars Neptune, he does have Mars Neptune. Fifth house in Gemini, which we have that allegedly. Libra, Venus for men. So Pisces, Libra, Cancer, Mars, or Libra, Venus for men, for men, for men. Okay. So he has a couple. Mars, Mercury, he has that as well. So it's a possibility. He has about 6 of these based off of this list that I actually found. Mutable signs. So Virgo. Nope. Mars or Venus in the 11th or the 12th. Oh, and he has Mars in 12th. So yeah, he has about 6 of these. So it is possible, maybe. I hope you guys wrote that down. So because again, it's a little bit in the chart, but I am actually going to pull. Go ahead, guys, and drop your questions, because now I'm going to pull a few of the tarot cards. So drop your quick questions that we can take a stab at. But I think Victorious is the one that wanted to know if possibly, were you the one that said that, or was it somebody else? Maybe somebody. Oh, yes. Victorious is the one that wanted to know if Diddy is possibly, maybe going for the other team. I mean, even if he is, that's fine. I guess it just depends, if you're trying to hide it or if you're trying to weaponize other people's like sexuality because you're trying to hide your own, then that's when it becomes an issue. I mean, hiding it is not, I should take that back. Hiding it is not wrong. But I was saying it in context, so if you're hiding it and then you're weaponizing other people being out about it, then that's a big issue. Okay? It's always funny whenever I pull cards, and I can always tell when somebody doesn't like me. Like, seriously, I really can. Just by a couple shuffles. They're clear as day. Like, okay, that's fine. I never said I liked your ass either. So we're even. Oh, even the tarot cards are kind of saying that Diddy is definitely going through some sort of change, but it's only because something has transpired. Okay. Oh, I actually just heard bi-curious, actually. So it's a possibility. Yeah, it is okay. It is a possibility. So weird. Yeah, he's on a decline, by the way, when it pertains to his star, when it pertains to just in general. So he is trying to, in some sort of a way, find, I guess, the ladder to climb back up. He has a lot of page energy here. So he has not grown up at all. Page of Pentacles, Page of Cups, Page of Cups. Remember I talked about before where I said when it comes to some Scorpio, something happens at a younger age and they kind of get stuck in that particular energy and then they transfer over to the dark side. Yes, when it pertains to him. And it was possibly by someone in authority. Oh, I think this is my opinion. I think I said bi-curious. So I think whoever this particular person is, I don't think they're alive anymore. Whoever this person, either not alive or they've been paid to hide away, to go away. But there is someone. This may be somebody that came into his life when he was like 15, 14. They have some type of authority because they're coming through as the King of Swords. But that, again, is just my opinion. Just my opinion. Yes, he is curious, without a doubt. And it's always somebody that he works with. But the Four of Wands, he is ashamed of this, by the way. Oh yeah, he has way too many pages. He thinks he's again, I was talking about before, you're not a part of Gen Z. You're not a millennial. You need to let it go. Be a part of where the generation that you're in. But unfortunately, on a psychological level, he is a child. Something must have happened. What that was, I don't know. Does he have a lot of Gemini placements? I don't know. Oh no, Penny, I was just curious about what you're saying because yeah, he has no Gemini placements. But then again, like I said, and I wish I could share this list. I'll save this list actually in my notes, and I will probably put it in the comments so that you guys can go and look at it if you would like to. Okay, you guys know I give out resources. This is not just one of those like, oh, we're just, I came up with this on my own. No. Yeah, I will, whenever I get finished with this, I will drop this in the comments so you guys can see. I will drop this, and I also will drop the video that I did on he and Young Miami. Okay, you guys have not dropped any questions. Did I just, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Did I just go over everything that you had a question about when it pertains to this guy? I mean, we got out the main one that you guys are curious about when it came to him and his sexuality. Again, that's just my opinion. I don't know this man from a hole in the wall. I really don't want those men from a hole in the wall because energetically speaking, he ain't messing with me, but I ain't fucking with him either. So we're even. I don't like you. You don't like me. I don't give a damn. I am that one. If we have to go to hell together, so be it. We're walking hand in hand because you ain't about to play with me. Okay, you got to be on that type of time. What they call it, demon time. That's the type of time I'm on, depending on the person. But I'm gonna laugh about it because it is what it is, Anyway, so Victorious is the only one popping out questions, so that's fine. Victorious, you want to know, did Young Miami fall for him? I really don't remember what I said in that composite reading I did with those two. I think I did allude to that, but I can't remember. So let's take a look. When is she in Aquarius? I don't know her birthday. I'm actually going to look it up and see. And I'll be changing the pages every couple of times, so you guys are just not sitting there looking at nothing. Young Miami birthday. Remember I talked about he goes for people that can't read? Okay. Or it goes for the illiterate ones? Okay. That goes for the yes men? Mm-hmm. This is what we're looking at. She's February 11th, 1994. She's going to go through her Saturn return soon. Or is it happening right now? Maybe. It may be happening soon if she's a Saturn in Pisces. Can't remember. Yeah, I know. Victorious, that's a good point. I know exactly what you mean. That's the crazy thing. But Penny, actually I never thought about that. You're gonna have to email me or text me or something because I don't know how to do that. If there is a software that I can go to where I can do like a show, I guess, or whatever, where you guys can call in, let me know because I haven't a clue where to even do that. So I'm gonna need some help with that. Just point me in a direction and we can maybe do a trial run and see how that works. So let's see. To go to the question, did Young Miami fall for him? Okay. I'm just gonna simply just see what is her feelings. Okay. Let's take a look. The death card. Oh, she's not letting him go. That's for sure. Okay. In terms of her feelings, she realizes that he doesn't compromise. So he's got her a nice house. Feels like she's gotten a house out of him from what I'm seeing here. Or she has like possibly like a room, I guess, or a section, if that would make sense. King of the Devil. 7 of Wands. Right now, though, right now, this is where we're at right now. It kind of comes across like he's ignoring her in a way. It feels like, of course, keeping up appearances, but that's kind of like how it feels. There is some sort of a soulmate connection here between Young Miami and Diddy, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if I mentioned that in the composite chart that I did, but that's kind of like what I'm getting. Yeah, it's weird. I say I feel like he's ignoring her. Right now, where she's at, she feels like that he does not care about her. The Queen of Cups in reverse is coming through, as well as the Queen of Wands. She's trying to influence him. She's trying to influence something about him, like she's trying to change him in a way, by being there for him, caring for him in some sort of a way. But she's like barking up the wrong tree, because again, energetically, it's coming through like she feels he just doesn't really care. Like he's not as emotionally invested as he was before. I mean, the cards are kind of coming through where it's kind of saying like she walked away, but not completely. It's like she's still locked in some sort of a manner. But he's not paying her much mind. He's not paying her much attention these days. Yeah, it's like he's sitting on a throne. Yeah, he's very charismatic. And that's exactly what is, the situation here. He's very charismatic. She really wants a baby. But I think I talked about this whenever I did the composite chart, that I talked about she wanted a baby. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, again, this is just my opinion. I don't know these people from a hole in the wall. But again, energetically speaking, it's coming across where even she feels that he's not really attracted to her. She's coming across with all these queens in reverse and the Empress coming in reverse. She's not his type. But she's like, I don't know what they have going on. Again, this is probably something I already talked about before. But she knows she knows that she is not his type. And then now I'm hearing from her, it's just like, I just want something for my kids. So, of course, money. But there's no growth in this particular connection. These guys don't really actually do well together, or she's realizing that they don't really do well together, because her Four of Pentacles is coming in reverse as well. So I would have thought that I think she thought, just like I thought, she would have been getting more money out of this particular connection, but she is not. They aren't even intimate. Is she his beard? Would you call it that? Or no, I wouldn't even say that. I don't think he is remotely romantically really interested in her. And I think at one point she thought he was. Because it's kind of giving a little bit of eye roll energy, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, they communicate, but they don't really talk about much. It kind of seems like it's a hi and bye, or even if they are like around each other, the conversation just seems very short. It's like he's being very short with her. But she also hates the fact, she also is becoming a little bit jealous that he's not really talking to her the way that she was expecting. He is for himself because he is coming through again as the king, but all of the queens are in reverse. He is for himself, and she is starting to realize that. I don't know if something transpired, something happened, whatever the situation was. She could be moving soon. Where she's going to move, I don't know. She definitely wants access to his wealth. And I'm not saying that she doesn't have access to his wealth, but that's what I'm getting from her. He has given her access to something. But it feels like for her, she thought it was going to be more. I mean, I'm not going to say this. Yeah, I'm not going to say this on live. Because there's something about Young Miami that I don't want to say a call girl. That would be wrong. I don't know why it kind of gives that vibe a little bit, unless this is just something from her past life that possibly is coming out. But that's the way it's coming to me. Yeah. The Justice in reverse, the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, the Three of Swords in reverse. Ooh, I don't know why it's kind of giving that, but that's just my opinion on the matter. Just stop getting these relationships with people you think is going to change their mind. It ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen. Okay, so where'd it go? Victorious with the questions. You want to know if he had anything to do with Kim's death. So let's look up Kim Porter. Is that the one? I'm pretty sure that's who you're talking about. Only reason why I know that is because when did she die? She died November the 15th. She was born December the 15th. Okay. He was Sagittarius? Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's kind of odd. Victorious, you may possibly be onto something because I just got this weird vision. Just go with me here, people. I know it may seem weird, but I just got this weird vision where I walked into a room or I opened the door and he's like standing in the kitchen and he has like on a white, the cooking robe. I can describe the kitchen. Like the cabinets are white, but it's not like a big house like he would be living in now. But he's like in the little apron, the white apron, and he is just like he is nakeder than a turkey's ass. Okay, he is naked. It's so weird. What is up with this guy? Like maybe a sexual deviant or something like that. Victorious, I feel like this answer may be a no, even though I know a lot of people probably want to believe that he possibly did have something to do with it, but was she bipolar or something like that? Or did she suffer from some sort of mental health issues real bad? If that's not documented, I feel like she possibly did. It also feels like that he wrote her off, meaning that he didn't have anything else, like, what's the word? He couldn't use her anymore. I don't know what that means. I don't know what he could have possibly been using her for, but it kind of comes across like I have no use for you anymore, so I really don't care like what happens to you. Yeah, at one point, he felt very inspired by her. At one point, he may even actually felt that or saw Kim Porter as his muse. But then that just wasn't the case anymore. But it almost comes across like you don't get rid of Diddy. Diddy gets rid of you, possibly by way of passing you down to somebody else. And it's almost like nobody wanted her. That's terrible. So on that, I get a no. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry, but I get a no on that. I mean, did they say it was the S word? Or did she, HANG herself? Hopefully not, because that's just terrible, terrible. But if not, it kind of comes across that way. It's almost like he's saying like she just wasn't mentally strong enough, or like the word on the curb, or the word on my curb is saying that she wasn't mentally strong enough. But he rids you away whenever he's done with you, wherever a way is to him. But yeah, it feels like she was just suffering a lot though. Like she needed a lot of help mixing something with something. Or if it wasn't by the two ways I said, she was possibly given like some sort of concoction, feels like, but it doesn't feel like it was him, but it's possible that he knows the person that is responsible. Like it's a friend of hers or maybe a friend of his. I don't know if they have mutual or something like that. It could have been that, but I actually do get a no. Now, nonetheless, he is wrong without a doubt because mentally speaking, he's just unwell. But the cards are saying no. But it almost wait. I saw that Queen of Swords and that Page of Wands. Almost like she had like a message need to be delivered or something like that. I don't know what this message was about. Yeah, she did not want to let him go whatsoever. But like I said, you're not done with him until he says that you're done with him. Okay, and not a lot of times, in my opinion, it kind of comes across like whenever he does get done with you, then you like are getting passed off to the next person, whoever that would be, depending on what the hell is going on. I don't know. Victorious, I don't know, to be honest about that. I mean, I don't think what she was gonna say isn't something that somebody else ain't gonna say. So I don't know about that. Okay, and last question, and then we're gonna be done. Victorious, you want to know, is he a good guy? I mean, I get there's good in everybody. I do believe that. I believe there is good in everybody. Just people, unfortunately, they take a wrong turn and they just can't come back. They don't get back. I would say, in my opinion, just reading the chart and looking at the tarot, in my opinion, I think that, he can definitely jealous and all that stuff that we talked about. And like I said, it's possible he's probably a sexual deviant, which can be bad depending on who you are sleeping with. But even outside of that, it doesn't really scream to me where he is like a complete monster. And I know that's tough. But it's just not really giving that. It's not saying he's a complete monster. He definitely hangs on to the past, for sure. Okay. He definitely doesn't like to pay out when it pertains to money that he owes. Okay. He is definitely having a hard time right now because things that, how things used to be, that is the way that he is expecting it to be for forever. But that's just not the case. It's not the time that he is in. He is insecure. But we already talked about that in his natal chart. We already talked about his insecurities. He is patient, though. Remember, like I said, he is an observer. And, oh, yeah, I did say I see the energy of him, like, communicating with you. And he's just waiting for you to say something that he could probably use later on. Yeah, but it's not like he's carrying out hits and stuff. I mean, I don't know. I didn't look into that, but I didn't really get that vibe. Okay. Yeah, he's dishonest. He's dishonest. But everybody lies to a certain extent, very insecure. He's brokenhearted. Honestly, he still is a little bit brokenhearted, especially when it pertains to somebody from his past who could be a Taurus, or this may be a relationship that ended 2017, 2019, or up to 7 years ago. But again, he's patient. Like I said before, I mean, he's not really afraid to share his feelings from what I'm gathering here, but he doesn't stand on solid ground, meaning he doesn't really stand on honesty as much as he would like to stand on honesty because he realizes that's just not how you get paid. Oh, that makes sense why I am kind of like why we're here. Because I'm too busy trying to be honest, but I'm gonna keep being honest. Fuck that. It ain't worth the money. It ain't worth the paper that it's printed on. Anyway. Yeah, because he has the Ace of Swords and the Ten of Swords came out, which definitely gives me somebody who is dishonest, a backstabber, which we already talked about that in his natal chart, how he has that backstabbing type of energy because of that Mercury, Saturn, Sun, Saturn, and I believe Mercury, Mars connection. And he has the Magician in reverse. So yeah, he is unfair to people. He knows he is unfair to people, but I've seen worse. I've read worse. We've looked at worse charts. So can we label him per se as evil? We haven't dug into it. That would probably have to be a past life reading. I have a couple past life readings to do, don't I? But I've seen worse. I would say R. Kelly's probably worse than him. I mean, it's pretty bad. And I hate to say it, I know people love MJ, but MJ is probably worse. Yeah, he's definitely afraid of dying, for sure. The age of 62 is going to be rough for him, especially health issues. 62, 63, 58. He has to be careful. He has to be careful. Yeah, but honestly, he has quite a few aces, but all of the aces are in reverse except the Ace of Swords. So it kind of makes me think, and the aces are the purest form, kind of like in the way of the tarot. So I think he's really, like I said, just going through some very rough karmic times just for what he has did, how he has misled whomever he has misled in the past. And, karma comes to collect. So what you can do. Penny, that's a good question. Did he develop self-hatred or was he raised like that? Well, let's see. For him being insecure, he has a problem with people who are true to themselves because he's not true to himself. So if you are true to yourself, then you and him will not get along because you are unable to be changed and you stand on who you are. He has a problem with that because that's not who he is. He's still struggling with that even now. And that's why I said he is still stuck in a child's age. I don't know what's transpired at 14 or 15, but that kind of comes across as the age where things took a turn. Okay? I don't know if his uncle was involved, but something is feeling like his uncle was involved. Or somebody he would see, big uncle, big brother, whatever you want to call it. Mentor, maybe. What was the question? Oh, yes. Did he develop this or was he raised like that? Okay. Ooh. Oh, my God. It's kind of weird because the cards are kind of saying that Diddy should have been in jail. Now, what for? I don't know. But yes, that's the way it's coming across. Hangman, Ten of Swords, I don't like that. He also struggles with mental health, possibly. The same thing that Kim Porter struggled with. Maybe was the link. Maybe that was the connection between Diddy and Kim Porter. They struggled with the same type of mental something. It's possible from what I'm seeing here. He's nobody's friend. The King of Cups next to the Death card. He's nobody's friend. And to be quite frank with you, the King of Cups is a boss. He's like middle management, but he's that good type of middle management because he appeals to the group. It's not just about one particular person. It's not just about my MO. He understands. He lacks understanding. And in the transits that we talked about, he could be going through that particular energy or phase in his life right now, where he is having to correct. There's nothing wrong with course correction. But to answer your question, Penny, I don't think this is a matter of was he raised like this. This kind of gives me energy where this is somebody who realized that in order for me to have the money, I guess, I'm going to have to put morals and shit like that to bed. It's not going to work in this particular arena. And there's a lot of aspects in his early life that he doesn't share and he refuses to share with this Two of Cups in reverse and this Four of Pentacles, especially when it pertains to what he did for money, how he got the money. So, of course, it's not like he was born. This seems like something that he developed on his own. It's not like it came from, he could have grew up in a two-parent household and they could have taught him morals and values, but that went out the window for him on a soul level. So, it kind of gives me that vibe of somebody where it's like, you know what, I'm tired of waiting. I'm just going to take what I want type of thing. He is selfish, which in that way, it kind of makes him a bit dark, honestly, because if you don't like to share whatsoever, something's wrong with you on an internal level. It's like, it doesn't really give me that you're very human, I guess, or not humanistic because you're supposed to share. It's like, I hate seeing it now, even when kids don't like to share and it sticks with them. Like, what is going on with you, little baby? Why do you not like to share? Like, you don't like to share anything, even if other people share with them and they ain't going for it. So, it just, that takes away, it's just like, it takes away from the human qualities, I feel like, when you don't like to share. I'm not saying you got to share everything, but you don't like to share nothing, like nothing at all. Oh, okay. Well, see, I don't know. Again, I don't know. I don't care enough about Diddy to dig into his past. So you guys would have to be the ones to tell me that, because I just don't know. But I appreciate you, Lisa, for telling me that. But yes, this just, I mean, who knows? Could be programming. It could be what they say, the streets, it could have came from the streets or something like that. But I don't really get, like, in terms of his parents, I don't really get that even if his parents were 100% bad, I don't really get the energy that they really wanted him to be the same way. That's why I say I don't really get that. This is all on him. Again, why he didn't go to jail, I don't know, because the cards are like saying this guy should have been in prison. But the Devil and the Queen of Pentacles, yes, very greedy, but that's what I was getting anyway. But his issue is greed. But greed is what, a 7 deadly sin, right? In a weird way, I don't know. Of course, I don't think he invented auto-tune, but there is something about auto-tune that becoming mainstream, and it's almost like he gets a piece of the profits in a way when it pertains to people using auto-tune, or maybe it's some sort of software or something like that he helped develop or he helped fund, and a portion of that, when people kind of like use that program, whatever it is, it goes into his pocket. Because there's like there's something inventorish, I guess, in a way, when it pertains to him, redundant. Something's redundant. I think he also may be kind of like being the way that he is now because he's bored, But it's not like he's never going to go broke, because the King of Pentacles and the Wheel of Fortune came upright. So he's still always going to have money, even if he passes it on down to his kids, whatever. He's always going to have money, at least for the next 3 generations. Now, after that, I don't know what's going to happen. But so next 80 years could be more than that. But yes, he's just not as popular because he has the 6 of Wands in reverse. He's not as popular as he was before. He doesn't write his stuff. It also does feel like that he has a bunch of writers, like in unfortunate situations when it pertains to music business. So, but he's never ever gonna go broke. That's not gonna happen. He's greedy. He's a greedy bastard. Ain't gonna lie. But that is his kryptonite and sexual deviancy, my opinion. Okay. Anyway, Victorious, I don't know about that question. But anyway, so this was a good live, guys. I really appreciate you guys sticking around for this amount of time. I know it was a lengthy one, but I just wanted to cover it because I feel like covering it. So again, appreciation is always, coming from me to you. Make sure you like the video on your way out the door, please. And don't be weirdos, you guys. I mean, leave me something nice, a nice comment or something of that magnitude. That's always fun. But anyway, so I will see you